to Draw Cartoons with John-Marc. Hey, it's John-Marc and welcome to my series on teaching you how to draw cartoons. Today I'm going to be sharing 3 new cartoons with you. That's right, the first one is going to be this little cute little cartoon turtle. That's right, a little turtle with a shell. You can really use your imagination and change it to your style. I want to challenge you on that one. And the second one is going to be a little toaster. The angle is another perspective one, another challenging one for you. A third one is going to be a really fun one. It's going to be this little guy relaxing in his sailboat. All 3 of these are going to be something that I know you're going to appreciate and learn something new in drawing and tips and techniques. So if you have some paper and your pencil, I think we're ready to begin all these lessons. Today's lesson, we're going to do this cute cartoon turtle. I'll be using my mechanical pencil and a standard 8.5 by 11. I'm going to be creating the top of the turtle shell first and sketching really simple and quick. Here's his head. You can see how loose I am going. It's not tight whatsoever. The gestures are very long and quick line strokes. Nothing to be like solid on the mark, just very, very quick. Let's put one of the little eyeballs here and get that little eyelid on the top there and the other one on the other side. That's the underneath the turtle neck there. That's the whole rim that's going around him. All right, so let's get his legs. Simple legs, let's do straight down square ones. There we go, little walking turtle. I can just see him animating right now. My head's kind of funny. Now to get his little tail in the background. And there we go, get around there, check there. His legs a little bit more, looking simple. As you can see when I'm sketching, I'm going all over the body at times, and my focus is never 100% like start on the head and go on the body. I can be jumping around all the time. And now I'm doing a little bit darker, a little bit more rougher sketching over the first step. And getting the shell a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out how should the shell look like in my head. So when I am sketching, I'm also thinking of the other areas that I might be building, like the background. How am I going to create? Is he on the table in somebody's house, or is he outside in a lake, or just walking the little woods? So when I'm sketching, I also have my thoughts being very creative and trying to figure out what I want to do. Now, saying being very creative, you do not have to follow these particular technique and steps. Be creative. Change them up a little bit. Make them smaller. Change the shell. Change the eyes or the expression on his face. Now, you can definitely see my sketching getting a little bit harder and a little bit more pressure on the pen, on the mechanical pencil. Again, the reason of what I like about the mechanical pencil is the lead always has a tendency to always be sharp, never going dull. But there's a pro and con, because you can shade better with a traditional pencil more than with a mechanical. So sometimes you may want to have them both nearby when working. Let's get his little nails on his little toes. There, that little G there is kind of like his knee. The back of his other leg, I'm just going to shade that in simply. That's looking good. Getting the other side done. Now, as you notice, I'm only going to show 2 nails of him. So like the third one, if there was one, be going around the other side that you can't see. As I said in some of my other videos, you might hear me talk about designing characters or working in general. I have like a 3D element in my head that I can rotate the character or the actual location in my head and kind of feel it out. So it's not just flat. In my mind, I have that whole perspective of the environment. If I was walking around, if it was actually a real cartoon in front of me, I can walk anywhere I want to. So now I'm just going to be working on the basic shell, the pattern. Now here is another place you can be very super creative. What could you do? Instead of making these squares, maybe make hearts or make stars, make a pattern other than that. Be very, very creative. In that case, turtle shells are really unique. Again, You may even want to check up on the internet and see what a turtle shell looks like and the pattern. This is like a little tortoise, basically. In my mind, this is pulling it up out of my many turtles I have drawn over the years. No particular one in at the moment in my head, but now thinking of that, I'm just going to make this shell. I'm just sketching really quick over to make the shell look darker, because the other rim that's underneath his neck and the bottom parts, I'm thinking a little lighter than the shell of it actually. So here we go with the background. What am I thinking? Some grass here and there, giving that depth, giving that foreground, midground, and the background that depth. In one of my other videos, I'm teaching how you understand layout and backgrounds. I kind of explain that foreground, midground, background in a perspective. That's a video you should check out. And here's another quick little representation of trees, or maybe let's do bamboo. I like that better. Little bamboos here, little leaves here, finishing that up. Little stones, mushroom stones, or other little insect could be flying around. It's just really, you can see how sketchy this is, and this is what I like. Really sketchy. It's not really tight. I take this again and I would put it onto my computer or to a light box and sketch over it and get a lot more detail at that time. Not right now. This is just to get my thoughts out. Some little more mushrooms, a little broken, little twisting, going forward, going backwards. Maybe some flowers you may want to even create. Multiple mushrooms there. I'm not a mushroom lover, so I'm not going to eat any of them. And they're just create different height and shapes and give that whole movement. So they're not all the same height and they're not all the same direction. Kind of give them spread out. That little highlight there and a little bit on the background. That bending over the background over there. Yeah, I think I'm just about done. As always, make sure you sign and date it and share it with your family and friends. And thanks for watching this video and have a great day. Hey, wasn't that a cute little cartoon turtle? I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something new with my drawing techniques that I always start very light, you remember? And then I get a little bit heavier and heavier. But what did you change with it? Did you add it in a different scene? Did you put him in a little jungle or near a beach? Or did you put him in a little aquarium by your desk? Whatever you can do, use your imagination. I know you did a great job on this one. So if you enjoy this little lesson, I know you're going to love the next one, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to my show on teaching you how to draw cartoons. Well, we're going to be going on lesson number 2. A little toaster, a little square box, and a perspective. So when you watch me do the little perspective technique, pay attention to the shape, how it actually is. You may not make 100%, that's okay. It's a learning curve and that's something good for you. So what would you change with the expression on the face? What would you put on the top? Maybe an English muffin or a different type of a toast. Whatever you do, I know you're going to be doing a great job on using your imagination. So if you have your paper and pencil, I think we're ready to begin today's lesson. Today's lesson, we're going to do this fun little cartoon toaster. As we begin today's lesson, you'll notice I'm using a different mechanical pencil. It's a gray one versus my blue one. That helps me to distinguish what type of lead, because this lead is going to be the HB. And I'm also working off of a standard 8.5 by 11 paper. So basic shape, as you can see, is like 3/4 view. It's almost like a piece of bread, believe it or not, if you can see that, the shape of it. And I'm just making the area where the toast is going to be coming flying out, like when it pops out. Feel free to be very creative and change the shapes and size and the orientation and the facial and even the table that it might be on. Is it inside? Is it outside? Do you actually have a toaster at home? Maybe you could have something very similar to your style. because this is playing up onto what I currently have at home in my studio, but instead of having 2 slots, I'm just making 1 for right now. And I have the 3/4 view, and I'm going to be making simple eyes right now, just little ovals. Very, very simple. And there's a big smile with that one. Let's give it some eyelashes first. There you go. Future lessons will be on 1 point, 2 point perspective, so keep note and make sure you get ready for those lessons, because this is going to really help you understand more about how this toaster is. This is almost like a 2 point perspective. As you can see, the piece of bread is a block, and then you can see the top, the side, and the front. That's pretty much like a 2 point, and the horizon line would be considered above since I'm seeing the top of the toast. And now I'm just going to create the bread right there, a little dark on the side, create a little edge, make it a little bit thick. Just going to give it a little fluffy stuff inside. At the bread, I'm just going to give some little lines. And the fun thing I'm just thinking right now, what I could have done is that bread popping out, and it could have looked like a top of a baseball hat. All right, and that's the little toggle to push it up and down. Just simply just working that out right now. There we go. Color this side here. That's looking good. And a little inside. All right. I'm liking that. And that's a 3-dimensional cut inside again. This is very understanding. If you know how to do a 2 point perspective in your mind, it makes it much easier when you're doing these quick sketches. Again, these are sketches, nothing more than a thumbnail. It's not a drawing whatsoever. And it's just to get your thoughts and ideas down. And as you can see, I'm just about on step number 2. Been working on that for a while, giving a little bit more darker and the flare to it. Yeah, this is one that I should actually vectorize in Illustrator and create a little clip art out of it. Here's a little table I'm going to make really quick. If it was right there, you can kind of see the horizon. I'm going to create the wall in the back and a little plug for the outlet to go into. All right, that's looking simple. Let's just make a little plug like it's already in the outlet. And the wire just hanging straight down. There we go. A little simple. Simple, simple, simple. And just shading that in right now. There we go. Looking good. I'm giving a little tone, a little dimension on that, like as if that was like popping down. So I'm just giving a little shading right there on the top there. It's looking a little darker. Let's give it a little bit more accent on those eyes. Help it along a little ways, a little bit more like that. A little bit darker. Again, this is mental notes just to help you out. And, or should I say me, little eyebrows, little ones, not too big ones. And as always, when we say we're done, make sure you sign, date, and share with your family and friends. As always, thanks for watching this video and have a great day.
Hey, did you enjoy doing that little cartoon toaster? What did you do different? Did you change the expression? Did you change the shape of it? Or even the position of it? Whatever you did, using your imagination, adding elements to it is what I would like you to learn, as well as my sketching technique. Did you see anything different? Are you learning something? All these things I encourage you to really take hold of. So if you enjoy this lesson, I think you're going to like the last one even better. But stay tuned. Hey, I'm John-Marc and welcome back to my series on teaching you how to draw a cartoon. This is the final and third lesson that I'm going to be going over with you. This little cute little cartoon guy in a sailboat. What are you going to do different? You're going to change his hair, his expression, change his sail, or even add something different that I wasn't even thinking of. I'm not going to give you any suggestions. I want to see what you guys come up with. So if you have your paper and pencil, I think we're ready to begin the next lesson.
Today's lesson is going to be on this cute little cartoon guy in a sailboat. I'll be using my mechanical pencil and the lead number B, as well as an 8.5 by 11 paper. I'll be sketching out the form of the boat first, as you can see, very loose and sketchy. very light, very light. And you can see sometimes when I move my hand over the paper, I'm not always landing with the lead, because sometimes I'm just trying to get the motion. And then if I like it, then my pen can go down and then I get a little bit more detail. Well, not detail yet, but sketchy. So this was just a little sailboat that I use out of my imagination. You might need to pull something from a photo that you might have. That might give you more accuracy than what I have right now. But for now, it's just a fun little cartoon lesson. So here's a sail right now that I'm working on, and as you can see, it's just very simple. Some of the things I'm putting down, trying to figure out how the mast might hold over the poles and have the curvature after it was wrapped around. And as you can think, what would you want to add to your sail? Is it going to be a star or number or a word? So that's something I might be thinking of. Right now I'm just continually creating the elements that I need for this little sailboat. Alright, the little oar in the back there to hold. This is under the water, as you can see, that line above it. I'll share with you a little bit more shadowing, quick and simple when the time comes. Just making these little elements, should I say, that I would think would hold and create a sailboat. That's using your imagination. And it's a little darker. I'm getting a little heavier now since the first step I'm complete. So this is more like maybe like a step 2, getting a little bit darker. All right, let's start to lay in the guy lounging in his sailboat. That crosshair is very critical to help me to know where the nose, eyes, and mouth will be. In this case, he's relaxing, total eyes shut, and just enjoying that moment. All right, here's the ear. Right here, see that crosshair helps me balance that out there. I get some hair, building hair. And again, some of this stuff you might want to practice on another piece of paper first before doing this sketch right now. Meaning like the shape of the head, the hair, how the guy might look. Take like little sketching notes. Here's his arm hanging over, his hands inside the boat. Let's look at his little body there. Then there's more of his little ear on that side there, the hair. Okay, let's get the front of the boat there. A little bit more, you know. Let's put a little star like I shared before. I want to put a little star in here. You can put a heart in there. You can put a number in there if you want to, or even a letter. All right. That little curve on his hair. As you can see, I hold the paper with my left hand and I can easily rotate it when I need to. Make it a little bit quicker for me. Now I'm going a little bit harder on the actual drawing, and when I'm doing it, it's a little bit more thought out control. A little bit more detail, and at the same time finalizing this sketch where we are right now. Get a little bit heavier, going over the step 2. The one thing about the nice part with working with a mechanical pencil is the pencil is pretty much always sharp. Whereas if I'm working with a traditional pencil, if this was a B, it would be getting flatter and the point could be getting a little bit broader, a little bit bigger, and the lines might be a little bit thicker. So having both at times to practice with is a good way of learning how to sketch and draw with different type of pencils. And here we go back to the sail. I'll part right there. All right, that's the material wrapping around the pole there. A little heavier. I'm taking my time. As you can see, I'm really moving the paper around with my hand now. Let's get the star a little bit more outlined. And this is just a simple sketch. This is not the final rendition of anything. This is just a practice. And if you enjoyed this, how this actually turned out, your little cartoon, take it to the next step. You might take it to a light box and retrace it on better paper, or just do a little bit more detail on there. You might add some wood grain on there. You might add some stitching on the sail. You might give a guy a shirt on there, have it, the water with more detail. I'm just making it very simple for right now. Then you can also take it into Photoshop and color it in on the computer if you like to, or if you have some colored pencils or watercolors, start playing around with the actual paper. It's a great way of learning traditional art. Having the computer is good, but traditional art, meaning drawing with a pencil and coloring with traditional colored pencils and watercolor, is more important first before working on the computer. The computer is a tool, but you still should have the practical, detailed stuff, understanding traditionally how they work. Adding some shading right now underneath him and his hair. There we go, a little bit in the sailboat there. That just showed the other side to give some tone. This might be metal there. All right, so here let's add some water in the background and little waves, little on the other side here to give some motion to the actual flow. He's just sitting. He's not really going fast, and that little wave here kind of pulls you closer. A little, add some bubbles on there. This is all underwater now, that boat. So just shading that part there kind of gives you that illusion of the water, that transparent area. Underneath the boat there, I'm just going to give a little bit more shadowing right now. And I might actually do another lesson on how to color this one, because this one looks like a fun one. Adding some clouds in the background, little lower distance clouds on there, and simple birds right now. As you can just see, they're like little, make the bigger ones are closer, the smaller ones are further away to give some depth to that. And there we go, looking pretty good. Let's shade. Oh yep, we got to shade this part because this is underwater as well. Looking good. So as always, let's sign and date it and share with your family and friends. I hope you enjoy this lesson and have a great day.
Now that was a fun lesson for me to share with you, because I enjoy going out on a little boat on a little lake and just enjoying the relaxed air. What did you change? Did you change the background where you could see maybe like a landscape, some mountains and some maybe log cabins, or there was a bear fishing in the background? That's right, a bear fishing, or maybe he's holding an ice cream cone. Use your imagination, whatever it is. Did you see how I was sketching again? How I started off slow and got a little bit heavier and heavier. This one was a little challenging, I know, but at the same time, I know you learned something. So our website is jmg-studio.biz. Thanks for watching this lesson and have a great day.